This is my experience becoming vegan, living in Hanoi, Vietnam, and my experience since then. In summer 2016, I moved to Hanoi, Vietnam. I was teaching English at the time, and at that point, I had already been living overseas for a while. And I just have to say, love Hanoi, love Vietnam, and I just really loved getting to enjoy the food there. But a few months into living in Hanoi, I don't know what sparked the interest, to be honest, but I just started to reminisce of the time that I was vegetarian. I was vegetarian for about a year from 2013 to 2014, and I stopped being a vegetarian when I moved to Barcelona, Spain. At the time, there wasn't really vegan or vegetarian options. This was 2014. And then, interesting enough, when I went and moved back to Barcelona in 2018, there were so many vegan, vegetarian options. But in 2014, there weren't really. So I stopped. So in Vietnam, I, again, just started to think about that time and just how good I felt and just how happy I was, I guess, eating as a vegetarian. And so I started to think like maybe that's something I want to do again for myself, but maybe this time go all in and become vegan. So I did some research into veganism and just more research into food. I feel like if you're going to do any sort of lifestyle change, especially in regards to what you eat, you should definitely put in the time to do some research and just make sure that this is the right decision for you and your body. At the end of the day, everyone's body is different, and you just want to make sure that how you're going to be eating is just the best decision, or yeah, the right decision for you. So after doing some research, I came to the conclusion that this was something I wanted to do for myself. But instead of going like all in right away, I decided to slowly transition into it. So first I became vegetarian again because it just felt easy for me to do since I had done it before. And then a few months in, I felt ready to finally give up egg. And then the last thing was definitely the cheese. You really didn't find much vegan cheese options in Hanoi. And that was just, I'm not gonna lie, that was something quite difficult to give up at the time. So the transition total was roughly like 6 months. And that was, so I officially became vegan in summer 2017. So this summer is 6 years being vegan. And those and my time transitioning, but also being vegan in Hanoi, I'm really so grateful for, because for again, the food scene there is amazing, but also there were a lot of vegan options at the time. Again, this was 2017, and I was eating out every day, lunch and dinner. I was always eating out at restaurants. It was just cheaper to eat out, and whether it was, you know, you're eating at your local or at establishments with traditional Vietnamese food, or going to any Western restaurants. There was just so many great options when it came to food, and a lot of places did have vegan options if you knew where to go, of course. One of my favorite spots, it's still open, it's called Peace Vegan, and it's in Tejo, and it's a buffet, and I swear for like roughly $2 you would get a plate of rice and then just all the food that you'd want, and it was great. I loved it, but there was just so many great international foods, great pizza spots. There was someone from Barcelona that was doing Spanish pop-up with great vegan options. There was a guy from Austin, Texas, who was making great Tex-Mex restaurant or Tex-Mex food and had great vegan options. But then, of course, when it came down to just local Vietnamese dishes, there were places that had like the famous bún chả, which was like one of my favorite dishes living in Hanoi, and it's a Hanoian dish, and it's a must if you are ever in Hanoi. But there were just Vietnamese restaurants where they would have vegan versions of their classic dishes, and it was great. Very lucky that I didn't have to worry about what to cook or what to make. Like I could just go somewhere, and if they had vegan options or if it was all vegan, just eat there. And it just really opened my eyes as to all the different dishes that could easily be made vegan. So my friends in Vietnam would ask me, like, don't you miss meat? Like, don't you feel like you're missing something when it comes to your food? And my honest response was always like, no, I honestly feel very happy with the foods that I'm consuming, and it's all really, I just found like really delicious. But of course, I was making sure that I was eating all the nutrients that my body needs, especially in regards to protein, carbohydrates, and fats and things like that. It's just something I don't ever really want to dive into here, because at the end of the day, my body is different from your body, and I don't really want to influence anyone into doing something that might not be the best for them, and is something that would be better if you talk to a professional. So I've always been a foodie. I've always loved food. I grew up watching cooking shows, food shows, traveling food shows. I've always just been obsessed with like food and culture, and that was just one of my favorite parts about living and traveling overseas, was getting to like learn about culture and places through food. And so when I came back to Portland in 2019, it was just, I don't know, in a way kind of fun to just re-explore the city, but through food. I eventually started Vegan Ventures in January 2020, just because I just wanted to share some of my favorite spots that I was finding. And because I just genuinely enjoy it. And it's just been such a blessing that it has grown to what it is now, especially like here in Portland. I've always just like loved connecting with people, and that's what I loved about traveling, was just like meeting people and just connecting with them through our similar interests. And what I've just loved about having the Vegan Ventures page is getting to connect with other foodies, but also to incredible business owners who just genuinely love what they're doing and want to share their culture or their like, you know, life journey, but through food. And to me, that is just like the biggest blessing. I feel like when you cook someone a meal, especially a meal that is just so special to you, I feel like when you get to share that with someone, it's like very intimate. And so, so at the end of the day, you know, I became vegan for my own personal reasons. And, but I feel like if you're going to consume anything, it should be something that, you know, you enjoy. And that's all I really want to share on this page, is like share, places and foods that you can also enjoy. They just happen to be vegan. So it's not like you have to be vegan. It's just like, if you just want good food, you know, that's really all that matters. I know this is a really long video, but if you made it this far, thank you so much. But I just wanted to share, you know, I guess my journey, you know, becoming vegan, but then also too, just how it has been the last 2 years, or the years that I was overseas exploring, and how I continue to do that here. But I'm also very excited that I do have a big trip coming up, and I want to do more traveling again now that the world has opened up. And so yeah, so again, thank you for watching, thank you for following, and yeah, I would love to know your journey about becoming vegan and how that was for you.